One of the toughest things to describe to people and get them to continuously choose through is when it feels so different. And therefore, what most people do is they go to it so uncomfortable. Number one, what if it's not about comfortable? But what if when you go beyond comfortable is where possible begins? Because everything else is concluded, defined, and diluted. Everything else is basically cognitive dissonance. What if you could be uncomfortable and have everything you've ever desired? I'd like you to think of the three things or people or whatever you've been avoiding. You might not have even realized you were avoiding them until now. But that avoiding and defending simultaneously is this juxtaposition of stupidity. Okay. Avoiding and defending simultaneously keeps us stuck. Could ask my favorite questions. What am I avoiding? Who or what am I defending for or against? What am I proving? What am I losing? Or what do I think I'm losing? Or what am I actually losing? And what am I gaining that I'm not acknowledging or not willing to have? How much cognitive dissonance do you have with being uncomfortable? How comfortable are you with limitation, with impossibility, with not being able to? The more I do, the more I realize there's so much more, but everything gets easier when you use these tools. How much more are you willing to be judged and vilified rather than you are admired? Like we know what to do with judgment. See, here's the other part is those things that we already understand and have defined are the things that we call comfortable that we keep bringing into our lives, like being judged, like being separated from. And so because we'd rather have the suffering we know than the possibilities and the infinite abundance that we don't know. What if that didn't have to be the thing for you? And what would it be like if you didn't receive that you're wrong easier? What if it wasn't more true to you that of course you're wrong? How much more wonderful could your life get? And what if you recognize that's just, well, number one, cognitive dissonance. But also the fundamental implant explant system that humanoids are wrong and humans are right. And this is where you realize that it's your definition of something that's how you create it. Your point of view creates your reality. And that idea of connecting with people means you have to, if you can be this big and they can only be this big, you have to compress what you have available to this big in order to connect to people. Keep going. You're getting exactly what you're asking for, because before you would just do it. Now you're aware that you're doing it. The next step is to get to not do it. Okay, this whole journey of consciousness is not what anything that we have been taught by anything of this reality. And the journey of consciousness is really like that. First thing is you start doing something and then you become more aware of how much you're doing it, but you need to become aware of how much you're doing it instead of just doing it without being aware that you're doing it, which at that point you go, oh my God, I can't believe I've been running this process. And I never used to do this before, but I'm so doing it all the time now. No, dumb, you were doing it before. You just had no awareness of it. And so what happens at this point is now you start to recognize that you're doing it rather than just doing it on autopilot. That's one of the points people get to where they blame themselves or blame the tool or blame access or blame me or whoever they want to blame. But in actuality, that's called awareness rather than blindness. That awareness is essential. Awareness and consciousness are rather synonymous, actually. So getting that awareness, even though it may seem uncomfortable or though it may seem I'm doing this more than I ever have before, getting that awareness is you being on the road to no longer doing that thing that you were doing from unawareness. Here's the other thing. People do not know what to do with you when you don't judge them. Okay? And also you have all kinds of previous judgmental encounters with people, them judging you, you judging them. And if you dissolve yours, they can be really uncomfortable around you. Like for years, people were so uncomfortable around Gary, and they still are. But because he wasn't judging them, he didn't function according to the structure in the box. And now people are really fucking uncomfortable around me too, because rather than giving them what they want, I just be and see what can be created or not. What if you were willing to just be and see what could be created or not? We use judgment to set boundaries. And we call it choice, but it's limiting choice. Getting more conscious is like remembering who we are. Here's an example. I was judged today for not reacting to people, and they left because they said they can't be around me for not doing or saying anything. That's an example of being the space. See, what you do not realize is it is your space of being that invites and allows possibility. See, one of the things you want to ask is, what can I be? What can I be to be the realms of creation and realms of possibilities I truly be? Also, what can I be? What space can I be to blank? So if we ask right now, what space can we be? Every one of these is totally different. It's a unique exploration based on all the explorations that we and everybody else throughout the universe have explored. A totally unique exploration, but it opens doors for all of us. How about if we lived our lives in the same way? Rather than thinking today is another cookie cutter cutout of a day that has some relevance to or some anything related to yesterday. You know, we have this idea in Access, live in 10-second increments. But what if you could? What if that's where the magic is? Not doing the autopilot, but showing up in each moment with a genuine curiosity and sense of wonder. And if you were like that, then what else would be possible? I'm saying that to remind myself too, by the way, because like you, I did a lot of control structure, etc. This is going to be like that, maybe a little better, blah, 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 blah. We're not quite willing to give up enough control to be that out of control. You know, we do have a process. What would happen if I were out of control, out of definition, out of limitation, out of form, structure, significance, out of linearity, and out of concentricities? What top three things would, that if you changed them right now, would make you so damn happy you almost can't stand yourself? And it's interesting because we do that with a lot of our lives where other things get in the way of what we would actually like to do or know will create the result. We sort of, so what other things have been getting in the way of what you would like to do or what will actually create what you desire? And what if it's okay to actually be so happy with what you're creating and what you're choosing and how your life is showing up? You know, you can either be happy or you can be normal. Your choice. And talk about courage to take the next step and make the next choice, not to be afraid of the possibility we don't know and choose to stay in the comfort zone. We do know, slow, comfortable, rather than jumping into the undefined miraculousness. God protect me from your normal people is the bumper sticker. Oh, so good. Oh, so the idea of having the courage is really the willingness to know, which is part of being a source, but the willingness to show up, even if it's totally not defined. And also the willingness to show up, choose whatever it is, even if it's not comfortable. And the reason I've been bringing the things up that I started with today about the comfortable and the slow and the thing is because we don't realize we're creating that so we don't move forward as fast. A huge amount of the things that slow us down are us slowing us down so we're not so out of control, etc. But it looks like something else, so we identify it as that. And the whole thing about consciousness is more awareness of what's actually going on. Because in that space of knowing what's actually going on, then you have choice. You're lying to yourself, you don't have much choice. And remember, the only thing you can't change is the thing you keep secret. So you have a secret agenda about the thing you keep hidden, the thing you avoid, the thing you defend, the thing you have to prove you don't have, and the thing you're not willing to lose or gain. What if you could be uncomfortable and have everything you've ever desired?